what's up, man?
What's up, man? I got, I think, half a mag in here. One of my plate carrier. What do you got in your rifle? What are you working with?
Huh? Oh, I got like 10 mags loaded, but I got like 4,500 rounds over here in the bag.
Wait, what? How? That's like an extra 130 pounds. There's no way you had that much.
Nah, man, it's 22. It only weighs about 40 pounds. Should have stocked up on them buckets in 2016, huh?
What's going on, guys? Thanks for checking out Black Diamond Guns and Gear. I'm Josh, and we have Steve here from Mr. Big Kid channel. We're going to be talking about 22 long rifle and if we think it's a viable round for self-defense, SHTF. What's it good for? So the conversation basically is, do we first of all, do you think 22 is good for that situation, I guess is the...
Yeah, I think 22, it's a highly underrated round. And when I say underrated, people just think of a 22 as a weak round. It's pretty much the, I don't want to say the weakest round you can buy for a firearm, but
this shit's weak, Lizzie.
It's down on the list, right?
Yeah.
Shit's weak. Oh,
Well, I mean, I got a 25 over there that is basically pretty weak.
Big fat 22.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
basically, yeah.
Yep.
It's moving slower. It's going like 750, per, so it's really not moving fast at all.
Naturally subsonic.
It's bigger. Yeah, it's naturally subsonic. But who makes
Right.
a suppressor for a 25?
Right. So, I mean, honestly, 22 I think is an excellent round, and there's a couple reasons. I think the biggest thing is 22s are extremely lethal. They will kill. They will kill people. They have killed people,
Yeah.
and we don't necessarily want to bring that up, whether it's YouTube.
I have heard that 22 long rifle is the round that has killed the most people,
I wouldn't doubt it.
based on the fact that it's around everywhere.
Yep.
Everybody has 22. It's very, very accessible. So I think that's one point that is actually good toward 22 is that it's everywhere. People
Right.
have it. Different manufacturers, like everybody makes 22.
Yep. Go to your local gun store. You'll have a good selection of ARs. You have a good selection, probably a few AKs in that gun store as well, a bunch of hunting rifles, but then you probably have an entire wall of
Yeah.
different variants of 22s. I mean, you got the 22 AR style, semi-auto 22. You have 22 kits for your AR, so for like the CMMG kit, if you guys want to take
Yeah.
an AR, stick in a 22 bolt in there, 5.56, 22, same diameter barrel.
Yep.
So, and not to mention, then you have 22 pistols. You have a whole bunch of different 22 pistols. I mean, there's 22 options are endless.
Yeah.
And you might want to bring up the capacity, or just the fact of the cost of the round is way cheaper than everything else on the market. And this right here, this is the CZ 457 Scout. Now, the reason I picked this for a survival rifle is because, number one, it's actually a youth-sized rifle, but I can shoot it just fine myself. The stock is a little smaller.
That's actually a good idea, man. Anybody can use it.
Yeah, including my son. And actually, funny situation, I have a video of my son loading this on YouTube, and they took the video down and gave me a strike.
Wow.
So that's fun, but it's proof that he can use this. He actually shoots it pretty well. But what's great about it is you have your, short barrel. It's a 16-inch barrel, but you have that short stock. And another reason why I picked this is because it's a bolt action. The nice thing with a bolt action is you can load each round in there, fire it. So if you want to shoot a 22 short, subsonic, you don't have to worry about cycling issues. So if you want to shoot subsonics, then you have a semi-auto. Sometimes those can be pickier when it comes down
Absolutely.
to your 22 options. So this thing, you are cycling it. And one thing I love about this rifle is the size of the extractor on this thing. This extractor will never die. It's extremely thick. When you're talking about a survival situation, you're also talking about something where you can get parts for.
Yeah.
Now, these CZ22s aren't uncommon. They're actually pretty common. A lot of people use them to shoot matches with. I'm not sure what you call like a 22 style PRS match, but there's a lot of companies out there that offer precision accessories for the CZ 457 and 455 22s. But the size of it is what I love. It's just a very compact bolt action rifle, and it's extremely accurate. It's got some heft to it, so it's not light, but I mean, it's just a great
In
gun overall.
in a SHTF situation, I think it's good to have, if you're going to have a rifle, I think it's good to have something that, like you said, everybody can use. It's not going to be something that is uncommon. And I think that when it comes to price point, if you can buy multiple rounds and buy bulk rounds of 22, which you should be doing, if you haven't done that yet, what are you waiting for? You should definitely be buying bulk when you can to stock up on things. With that being said, why not buy multiple rifles? Why not buy multiple pistols of 22? Why not, you're talking about having parts and all that stuff. Buy multiples, man. Buy multiples. I think I can stress that enough, really. But my pick for a rifle would be this 1022 Takedown. I think these things are super rad. Not only that, this isn't the original, what do you call it? Formation? Original configuration of a 1022 Takedown, but this is a Magpul backpacker stock, and what this allows it to be super compact as well. You basically just unhinge it here, and you literally, and you have a rifle. I think that is super rad. One of the things I do like about the Magpul rifle is the fact that you can open this little cheek rest up, and you have multiple areas you can put their small 10-rounder magazines in here. I think that's pretty cool. And
just dump a handful of 22s in there too.
Or just, keep them in there. I think that's really cool. You can add a suppressor to it because they're always threaded. Add a red dot to it or whatever you want on the top. There's all kinds of different adapters you can buy out there. I think I don't even know where this came from, to be honest with you. I found it online somewhere.
Yep. And 1022s have your spots to add a rail on top.
Yep.
So if you want to add a Picatinny, dovetail, whatever, you just buy the rail for it, and that's it.
Now, being that this is semi versus that one being bolt action, I think they're both very reliable. I don't think that one's maybe. Do you think a bolt action is more reliable than a semi-auto?
I would think it's more reliable, but they both have different benefits too.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, you get your follow-up shots without having to actually, when you're shooting your bolt action, even when you cycle your bolt, you can practice, get it nice and steady, but you have a slower shot. So in a situation where all you have is a 22, it's an end of the world situation, right?
Yeah.
And you see a deer, you see a black bear.
That's the other thing I was going to ask you about. So we talked about this before. Everybody's talking about rounds. Of course, we know that 22 can take small game. That's not, will it take bigger game? I'm not a huge hunter, so I don't really know. That's a question for you because you've done multiple hunts and stuff. So I don't.
Yeah, the 22 will penetrate pretty much anything in, at least where we are in the southeast.
Sure.
I mean, if you're talking about northern territories, you're talking about, where you got Kodiak bears, stuff like that, brown bear, I would probably not carry this around, but out here we have coyotes, we got squirrels, we got deer, we've got black bear. Now, would I recommend taking large game with a 22?
Well,
no.
We're talking about end of the world here, though.
But we're talking about end of the world. And if I need to feed my family, I mean, with a bolt action, you're going to want shot placement. You're going to want to make sure that you're hitting in the right spots. Obviously, you're going to want to do the same with the 1022, but you could dump 10 rounds in the time I could dump 3 on this.
The thing is, too, with what I was going to ask is, with a bolt action, I don't know. Like I said, I'm not a hunter, and I don't really deal with a lot of rifles. Is it quieter to have a bolt action versus a semi when it comes to something like, let's say you didn't have subs, let's say you just had regular or whatever, is it quieter to shoot regular rounds out of it?
The only thing you're not going to hear is the action on a bolt action. Okay. So you're going to hear the hammer drop, but you're going to hear your bolt cycling on yours.
Sure.
You're going to hear the hammer drop on mine.
Okay.
I think there's better lockup on a bolt action because, when you crank it down, when you crank that bolt down, you can see that bolt locks in, right?
Okay, yeah.
So you fire it and you don't really have any gaps between your chamber and then in the end, so that suppressor is going to take all the gas out.
Right.
You're going to get a little bit of gas probably coming out your bolt because that's how it cycles on a 1022.
Right.
But honestly, on a 22, it's going to be negligible, especially if you're shooting supersonics.
Yeah.
You're going to hear that bullet flying more than the suppressor is actually going to suppress anyways.
Yeah.
So, but it makes a huge difference. You shoot subsonics out of both of these rifles, it's silent.
It's pretty quiet.
You're going to hear a click. Even with that, you're going to hear a click.
I don't even think you need ears for that.
No, you don't.
In my opinion, I mean, everybody's like, oh, well, you should. Well, yeah, you probably should. But in an end of the world situation, are you going to have your ears on you?
You don't need ears.
You don't need ears.
I just realized I'm still wearing my gloves, and it's not even that cold out anymore.
Well,
Let me take these off.
so when it comes to rifles too, I would say this. When it comes to multiple ways you can use 22, there are literally multiple ways. It's not just a rifle round. You can use them in handguns also. This is a TX22 here, and it has a suppressor on it, and it'll take the same suppressor that goes on your rifle. I mean, it's just very, very interchangeable. So if you had to use, like again, end of the world situation, and you have to use this for a self-defense situation, you have a pistol now that you can carry, conceal, whatever. This will fit in Glock 19 holsters. You can carry this on your body, and you have the same round that you would use out of your rifles. I think that's viable.
Yep, absolutely. It's something concealable.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you don't want to lug around a rifle, what's really cool about that version of the TX22, I mean, it's the actual optic mount on it doesn't move. Well, it shouldn't move.
Yeah.
So
mine's a little cranky.
Well, I mean, what's nice about this is you can actually get some accuracy out. It is not an inaccurate gun.
Yeah.
So am I going to go try to take a squirrel at 50 yards with it? Probably not.
No.
But I mean, if there's something close up, if, you know, whether with a deer, would I sling rounds at it? Probably.
Well, I just mean if any threat that you see
Yep.
within self-defense distances, you have a self-defense weapon that you can carry on you.
Right.
With the same round that you would bulk buy for SHTF situations.
Yep.
So I think it's good as far as a round for that. Now, everybody always talks about, like I think we already talked about it being deadly. I think we all know that a 22 is deadly. Most people have mentioned in other videos that 22 is the most deadliest round because it kills the most people. And I don't have the stat for that. I don't actually know that. But everybody who I've ever seen do a 22 video has always talked about that being the stat.
Yeah, it's an effective round. Now, there are some drawbacks to 22s, but before we get into that, I think one huge perk of a 22 is the amount of ammo you can carry. So, all right,
yeah.
Handful of 5.56, you're gonna hold what, 30, maybe 40 rounds in a pocket?
Without losing them?
Without, so yeah, they're falling
Yeah.
between your fingers. A 22, you could probably hold a couple hundred in the palm of your hand.
Yeah.
Well, opened up palms maybe.
Yeah.
But you can take a handful of 22s, stick them in your pocket. You got a couple hundred rounds just floating in your pocket.
True.
The same thing with, you know, if you have a 5.56 or
Yeah.
whatever, larger rounds, especially if we're talking about hunting calibers, whether it's a 270, a 308, you're gonna be way more limited on your capacity.
I have a bucket of, you know, Remington 1400 rounds or whatever over there. It weighs 8 pounds, and that's 1400 rounds. You take 1400 rounds of 223 or 9mm. I weighed 9mm the other day. 1,000 rounds of 9mm is 30 pounds. So you can literally have more than what you have in that 1,000 rounds of 9mm in your pocket or in a backpack for literally 8 pounds versus 30 pounds.
So you're out there hunting for food.
Yeah.
You know, you don't need to have a backpack full of 22s. You can
That would
literally
weigh
take a couple
130,
hundred.
145 pounds, you know, like extra.
Right. Just keep them in your pocket and then load up as you need. So
Yeah.
there's definitely a perk to that.
Yeah.
I think a drawback though with 22s is the reliability and it's a dirty round in
Yeah,
general. I
for
mean,
sure.
22s will they get pretty dirty.
Absolutely.
So over
Yeah.
time, you got to try to find a way to keep your gun relatively clean. That said, I've had this rifle for a couple years, and I think I've only maybe cleaned it twice.
Okay.
But it's a bolt action, so I'm sure the barrel's nice and dirty, but you're not getting a lot of gas and stuff, you know, in the action. But when I'm talking about reliability, it's probably a good idea to stock up on the bulk stuff so you have that quantity that you want. But at the same time, it's probably a good idea to get a few boxes of something quality, like a CCI mini mag.
Sure.
Something like that.
The Stangers or whatever they're called.
Stangers,
right?
yeah. But just something that you can have so you have a more reliable 22 as well. If you're going out hunting, you know, keep your mag loaded with some of the good stuff so you can make some good shots initially. If you're going to carry around that TX22 pistol and intend to use it for some type of self-defense, I would load it with good ammo that's not going to jam on you.
Dude, 17 rounds, by the way, of self-defense. That's pretty good.
Right.
I mean, and not only that, you can have multiple mags and that kind of thing. But yeah,
So
I agree with you, man. I think that the round stuff is definitely a good pick. If you're gonna bulk up on that stuff, bulk up on cleaning stuff too. That's a good transition for this. Fat Tack actually is gonna have their own brand of cleaning products on fattack.com, so you can go check that out. Yeah.
Nice.
I think the cleaning product is called Bore Cleanse. The grease is called, I think it's like Gun Lard.
Good Lord.
And then I think the actual lube is called Slick Sauce. So go check out the cleaning products on fattack.com.
Get your gun lard and slick sauce.
Yeah, dude, it's awesome. But yeah, I think why not stock up on cleaning stuff too? I mean, while we're talking about end of the world situation here, we're talking about mainly what you should have. I'm not even saying end of the world. I'm just saying, let's say civil unrest. Let's say anything like that could possibly happen. Zombies, probably not as likely. We're talking about SHTF, civil unrest, that kind of situation. I think a 22 is a viable round to have to stock up on because it's relatively available. It's cheaper. The components that you would have for the weapons are cheaper. The weapons themselves are usually cheaper, right?
Mm-hmm. Well,
you're not going to
cheaper
find a $1,000 22 rifle, right?
Oh, you can, but
I've never seen them. That's what I'm saying. I don't know much about them.
I guess when it comes down to the 1022s, you get all that Volquartsen type stuff, the fancy accessories for precision shooting and competition.
Yeah,
but
okay,
regardless, we're talking about mass-produced 22s.
Yeah.
No, you're looking. This is probably the most expensive 22 I've ever purchased, and I think it was $500.
Yeah, I think my 1022 Ruger 1022 was $400. Under $400 for sure.
But I mean, you get the quality, and that's why I recommend this. That's why Josh recommends a 1022.
Yeah.
1022 is probably the most common 22 out there.
Yeah.
CZ 450 series is not as common, but the quality.
That's a solid rifle though.
It's a very solid rifle. So
I'll be honest with you. I think it's more solid than that.
yeah.
I think for a self-defense pistol, the TX22 is great.
Mm-hmm.
I think that as far as pistols go, this is probably the most reliable 1020 or 22 pistol I've ever shot. The Ruger LCP 22, which we can roll some B-roll footage in here of that. We have that too. It's pretty reliable, except for the fact that it won't run subs. I figured that out.
Yeah.
But as far as this goes, I would say as far as pistol goes, the TX22 is my pick for.
Yeah, we put a few rounds just before we started filming, which we should have got those on camera, but we
Yeah.
will. If we didn't have a single issue with it.
No.
That said,
I've never cleaned this.
I would also look at some of the Browning Buck Mark. You're gonna have, or what's the other one? Ruger Mark.
Yeah, Mark IV, Mark II, whatever it is. Yeah.
I'm not a 22 shooter.
Me neither,
when it comes
me
to
neither, me
pistols.
neither.
I really want one of those though. There's a lot of cool
Yeah.
stuff you can do to
You
them.
can do a lot of cool stuff with that. And you can make the barrel shorter and everything.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty rad.
Integrally suppressed.
Yep. That's always a game changer in my opinion. But yeah.
That's all I got. I mean,
I think that we basically covered the points that we wanted to cover as far as like ammo being there, prices being there, and they're affordable prices. Even still today, the bucket that I was going to say this too. The bucket that I have, $75 or $79 right now on a bunch of websites.
yeah.
And you versus 223 or 9mm even. 9mm right now is like $300 something for 1,000 rounds. 223 is $600 for 1,000 rounds right now.
Yeah.
Kind of crazy.
50 cents a round.
So why not stock up on 1,400 rounds of 22 that you could have for $75? I mean,
Yeah.
I think that's a no-brainer.
Absolutely.
So price, quantity, it's all there. As far as reliability, I think when it comes to reliability, you have quantity. So that kind of overrides reliability in 22, in my opinion.
Yeah, I've had some gnarly issues. We use cheap ammo with this thing, and I had to find some kind of a dowel or rod that'll actually purge out, that'll actually fit in the barrel so I can hammer out that casing.
Yeah.
So that's something you got to think about.
Yeah.
Choosing quality ammo is gonna help.
Yeah, I agree with that. But yeah, I think it's totally a viable round, and that's our opinions on it. Anything else you want to say about it?
No, that's about it.
Thanks for watching, guys. If you like these videos, please subscribe and hit like and all that stuff. Put a comment down below so we know that you're actually watching them and then we can interact with you because we are in the comments all the time. And yeah, so.
If you guys are catching this video on my channel, make sure to check out Josh with Black Diamond Guns and Gear. He's a pretty all right guy. He's one of my first Tennessee friends that I had when I came out here. So he's very special to me. All right. Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate it. Hope you guys enjoyed this video and have a blessed week.